Who was the hottest First Lady of all time? Tight corsets, scandalous necklines, figure-hugging gowns. Some of these women made history and turned heads while doing it. One flaunted curves that had the whole country talking. Another rocked a dress so bold it sparked outrage. Hollywood glamour, high fashion, and even a little controversy. These 15 First Ladies weren't just powerful. They were drop-dead gorgeous. Let's rank the best-looking First Ladies in U.S. history. Number 15, Angelica Van Buren. Let's start with a 19th-century beauty who knew how to strike a pose. Angelica Van Buren might have lived in an era before photography, but even in paintings, she knew her angles. That soft gaze, the perfectly arched brows, and the way the light hits her face, flawless. Her portraits show off her high cheekbones and delicate features, making her one of the most striking women of her time. Angelica was serving full-on European elegance in a time when most American women were still stuck in colonial leftovers. Think off-the-shoulder gowns that emphasized her long, graceful neck, tight corset bodices that highlighted her figure, and elaborate ringlet curls that framed her face just right. She brought a French-inspired touch to the White House, effortlessly blending aristocratic charm with Southern belle refinement. Even when critics tried to say she was too fancy during an economic depression, Angelica didn't let that dull her shine. Her White House receptions were filled with elegance. Her fashion choices whispered royalty. And let's be honest, if social media had existed in the 1800s, she would have been an influencer before the term even existed. Number 14, Helen Taft. Helen Taft knew that sophistication wasn't just about what you wore. It was about how you carried yourself. And let's be clear, Helen carried herself like a queen. Her face had that perfect mix of sharp and soft, high cheekbones, a strong chin, some might call it a butt chin, but let's be real, she rocked it, and porcelain skin that barely aged. Maybe she was just lucky, or maybe she understood the power of good skincare long before it became a thing. Either way, Helen was glowing. Then there's her wardrobe. Helen understood that if you're going to be a First Lady, you better dress like one. She had that early 20th century Gibson girl aesthetic, high collars, dramatic puffed sleeves, and sweeping gowns that hugged her silhouette just enough to make a statement. Even after suffering a stroke, Helen refused to be sidelined. She brought glamour to the White House while also reshaping the role of First Lady itself. And let's not forget, she's the reason we have those famous cherry blossom trees in D.C. A beauty with brains, style, and lasting influence. Yeah, she definitely deserves her spot here. Number 13, Laura Bush. Laura Bush had that effortless mom-next-door charm, but don't get it twisted. She was stunning in a subtle, graceful way, with those soft blue eyes that always matched her outfit, a warm smile that made you feel like you could trust her with your deepest secrets, and perfectly coiffed hair that never had a single strand out of place. She was a vision of timeless beauty. Her fashion choices were simple yet elegant. She leaned into soft pastels, tailored suits, and pearl accessories that screamed class without trying too hard. She was about quiet sophistication, and honestly, that made her stand out even more. Laura had the kind of look that made you feel at ease. She wasn't trying to be a fashion icon, but she had an innate grace that made everything she wore look polished. Whether it was a classic pantsuit or a soft, flowy gown at a state dinner, she always looked effortlessly put together. And let's be real, anyone who can pull off looking regal and approachable at the same time deserves a spot on this list. But if we're talking about First Ladies who knew how to turn heads, it's time to bring in someone who had the runway walk down before she even stepped into the White House. Number 12, Melania Trump. Melania Trump didn't just wear fashion, she commanded it. Every outfit was a statement, every public appearance was a moment. And when it comes to sheer model-esque beauty, Melania is in a league of her own. Her face, sculpted like a Greek statue. Those piercing eyes, the chiseled cheekbones, the full lips. It's the kind of beauty that could intimidate a room, but in the best way possible. She had that cool, mysterious air about her, making her one of the most striking First Ladies in history. And her style? A flawless blend of high fashion and high power. Melania was all about sleek silhouettes, dramatic coats, and neutral palettes that made her look like she stepped straight off the runway. She rocked designer labels like Dolce & Gabbana, Dior, and Ralph Lauren, making tailored suits look effortlessly sexy and evening gowns look like they were made just for her. Of course, there were moments of controversy, that Zara jacket anyone, but love her or hate her, you noticed her. She didn't just dress to impress, she dressed to dominate. But if we're talking about first ladies who knew how to stand out while still keeping it classic, it's time to move on to someone who could serve both PTA mom energy and powerhouse politician wife vibes in one look. Number 11. Pat Nixon. Pat Nixon didn't just wear pink, she owned it. If you've ever seen her in that hot pink power suit, you already know she meant business. Her whole look was equal parts, I'm here to bake cookies and I dare you to underestimate me. Pat had a face that was perfectly structured for a first lady. Sharp eyes, a confident smile, and a look that could go from sweet to serious in a second. Her hair was always styled to perfection, whether it was her short waves in the 50s or the softer curls she embraced later on. She had that undeniable presence where you just knew she was in charge, even if she wasn't the one giving the speech. And her fashion? A mix of classic, feminine, and bold. She wasn't afraid of color, and she knew how to rock a tailored coat like no one else. But perhaps her most iconic look was that red coat in China. Standing against the historic backdrop, she made sure the cameras saw her first. And let's not forget, Pat Nixon was the first lady to publicly pose in pants. A small moment? Maybe. But at the time, it was a bold move. And for that, we salute her. Number 10. Eleanor Roosevelt. There's something about Eleanor Roosevelt that draws you in. She had a quiet confidence, a poised elegance, and a commanding presence that made her stand out in a room full of politicians and dignitaries. Her high cheekbones, soft eyes, and knowing smile gave her a regal, almost ethereal beauty. Her style? Practical, understated, but never careless. She favored tailored suits that emphasized her strong yet feminine silhouette, with skirts that hit just below the knee, always modest but never outdated. She often wore pearls, simple brooches, and well-structured jackets that balance function with elegance. While day-to-day she dressed for business, Eleanor had a secret weapon, her evening gowns. When it was time to step into the spotlight, she pulled out flowing satin dresses in deep jewel tones that made her look like she belonged in a grand ballroom. The contrast between her everyday simplicity and her nighttime elegance only made her more striking. She may not have chased fashion trends, but she had an effortless charm that made people stop and admire her. And if a woman can make practical fashion look iconic, you know she's got something special. Number 9. Jill Biden. Jill Biden knows how to command attention without demanding it. She has this warmth in her eyes, a kindness in her smile, and a confidence that says, I've got this. And let's be real, she does. Fashion-wise, Jill blends professional with playful. She wears structured dresses that flatter her figure, tailored jackets that highlight her polished style, and vibrant colors that make her stand out in the best way possible. She's a fan of floral patterns, classic sheath dresses, and of course a killer pair of heels to complete the look. Her go-to designers? Marcarian, Brandon Maxwell, and Gabriella Hearst, all known for creating elegant, sophisticated pieces that feel modern but timeless. One thing Jill nails is the art of the power coat. Whether it's a stunning blue ensemble for an inauguration event or a chic pastel piece for a diplomatic meeting, her outerwear choices always add that extra touch of class. She knows that the right coat can turn an outfit into a moment. Jill is living proof that a woman can be strong, stylish, and completely in control. Number 8. Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has spent decades in the public eye, and through it all, one thing has remained the same, her unmistakable style. She's known for her power suits, her love of bold colors, and her ability to mix sophistication with authority. Her face carries a certain fierceness, sharp eyes, a knowing smile, and an expression that says she's 3 steps ahead of the conversation. When she walks into a room, you feel her presence. And that's exactly what her fashion reflects. Hillary's suits are legendary. She's worn everything from classic navy to bright sunset hues, always tailored to perfection. Her designers of choice, Ralph Lauren, Oscar de la Renta, and Michael Kors, each bringing a mix of structure and elegance to her wardrobe. But let's not forget her accessories. Whether it's a simple pearl necklace or a bold statement brooch, Hillary knows how to add the perfect finishing touch. She took the pantsuit and made it a power move. She played with colors in ways few politicians dared, and she never let her clothes wear her. She owned every single look. Number 7. Mamie Eisenhower. If the 1950s had a signature color, it was Mamie pink. And if anyone could own a color, it was Mamie Eisenhower. She was petite, always impeccably dressed, and had a soft, feminine beauty that made her look like she belonged on the cover of a vintage fashion magazine. Her short, curled bangs became her signature look, and her bright eyes gave her a youthful, almost doll-like charm. But don't let the sweetness fool you. Mamie knew exactly what she was doing when it came to fashion. Her gowns, full-skirted, cinched at the waist, and made of elegant fabrics like silk and taffeta. She loved embellishments, delicate lace trims, pearl buttons, and a touch of sparkle that made her shine in any room. For daytime, she leaned into classic 1950s glamour. Structured dresses, matching gloves, and coordinated hats that completed her ladylike aesthetic. And let's talk about that iconic pink. She didn't just wear pink. She defined it. Her inaugural ball gown, a stunning crystal-studded blush pink masterpiece, the White House, decorated in soft pink tones that became a trend across America. Even men's fashion in the 50s saw an uptick in pink thanks to Mamie's influence. She made femininity powerful. She made charm fashionable. And she proved that a first lady could be both elegant and unforgettable. But if we're talking about unforgettable style, the next woman on our list took White House glamour to a whole new level. Number 6. Nancy Reagan. Nancy Reagan had an undeniable presence, a movie star's grace, and a look that was always polished to perfection. Her beauty was striking, delicate features, expressive eyes, and a confidence that made her glow. And she knew exactly how to highlight those features with her impeccable fashion choices. Her signature? Reagan Red. She owned that color like no one else. Whether it was a chic Adolfo suit, a dazzling evening gown, or a perfectly fitted coat, Nancy made red look powerful, elegant, and undeniably First Lady worthy. She loved designers like Oscar de la Renta, Valentino, and Chanel, favoring tailored silhouettes, sophisticated fabrics, and just the right amount of embellishment. And when it was time to step out for a state dinner or a high-profile event, Nancy didn't hold back. Sequins, beading, and luxurious fabrics made her look like royalty. She brought Hollywood glamour to the White House. She made First Lady fashion exciting again, and she proved that elegance never goes out of style. Number 5. Frances Cleveland. Frances Cleveland was the First Lady of curves. If there were ever a 19th century hourglass figure worth talking about, it was hers. That tiny waist, that full skirt, that confident stance. She made corsets work for her, and honestly, she was giving Victorian-era Beyoncé. At just 21 years old, Frances became the youngest First Lady in U.S. history, and she didn't waste any time becoming a full-fledged fashion icon. Her wedding gown alone was a masterpiece, an ivory satin dress stiff enough to stand on its own thanks to its structured boning. The lace detailing, orange blossom embroidery, and 6-yard-long tulle veil made her look like royalty. Designed in the famous Maison Worth atelier in Paris, it was pure luxury. Women copied her signature a la Cleveland curls, and when she removed her hat at the theater one night to let people behind her see, the entire country started doing the same. She also rocked the décolleté, a daringly low neckline, so often that women's groups wrote her letters begging her to cover up. Did she listen? Nope. And that's exactly why she's in the top 5. Number 4. Michelle Obama. If confidence had a face, it would look like Michelle Obama. From the moment she stepped into the White House, she radiated power, warmth, and effortless beauty. Her toned arms, megawatt smile, and statuesque presence made her one of the most visually striking First Ladies of all time. And then there was the fashion. Michelle wasn't just stylish. She was a style icon. She seamlessly blended high-end designers like Jason Wu, Prabal Gurung, and Brandon Maxwell with accessible brands like J. Crew and Target, proving that First Lady fashion could be both glamorous and relatable. Her best looks? Oh, there are too many to count. The white, one-shouldered Jason Wu gown at the 2009 inaugural ball? Stunning. The shimmering rose gold Atelier Versace dress at a state dinner? Jaw-dropping. The sleek Monsey navy pantsuit at the Democratic National Convention? Absolute power move. And let's not forget her 2021 inauguration look, an unforgettable Sergio Hudson plum-toned coat with a matching belt that defined modern elegance. Michelle made bold prints, vibrant colors, and sleek silhouettes her signature, proving that fashion is just another form of self-expression. And let's be honest, when she stepped out in those perfectly tailored, figure-hugging dresses, she owned every single room she walked into. Number 3. Lady Bird Johnson. Lady Bird Johnson was all about Southern charm, grace, and classic femininity. She had that warm smile, those expressive eyes, and a soft yet undeniable presence that made her glow. But what really set her apart? Her love of color. Before Gen Z made butter yellow trendy, Lady Bird owned it. Her golden-hued inaugural ball gown, designed by American fashion legend Molly Parnis, was pure elegance. With its rhinestone-accented sleeves and flattering silhouette, it was both regal and joyful, just like her personality. She wasn't flashy, but she was intentional. Every dress, every coat, every ensemble was a reflection of her love for nature, beauty, and simplicity. Lady Bird had a deep appreciation for floral prints, which, let's be real, makes total sense for the woman who led a nationwide beautification campaign. She often wore sheath dresses with delicate flower motifs, elegant wool coats in soft pastels, and stylish hats that gave her an air of timeless sophistication. Her signature red-orange sheath dress, which she wore both casually and on official trips, proved that she knew exactly what worked for her. She wasn't the flashiest First Lady, but she had an undeniable radiance that made her unforgettable. And speaking of unforgettable, the next lady was as bold in fashion as she was in her beliefs. Number 2. Betty Ford. Betty Ford was fearless, in life, in advocacy, and in fashion, and she looked the part. She loved statement pieces, bright colors, bold prints, and dramatic necklines. Her wardrobe was packed with jewel-toned gowns, intricately patterned caftans, and tailored suits that fit her like a dream. One of her most iconic looks? That baby blue suit with white piping, worn when her husband took the oath of office. It was crisp, fresh, and striking, the perfect visual for a new era. But Betty really came alive at evening events. She wasn't afraid to show off her figure with fitted gowns that featured high slits, off-the-shoulder designs, and Mandarin-style collars that framed her face beautifully. She often paired her outfits with oversized scarves, a touch of gold jewelry, and her signature short hairstyle, proving that confidence was the best accessory. Betty was bold, both in her wardrobe and in her activism. She openly talked about breast cancer, addiction, and equal rights, things most First Ladies wouldn't dare discuss at the time. She redefined what it meant to be a First Lady, and she looked amazing while doing it. And now, we've made it to the top spot. You know who it is. Number 1, Jacqueline Kennedy. Of course, Jackie Kennedy is number 1. There was never a doubt. She wasn't just a First Lady, she was the First Lady of style, elegance, and absolute perfection. Jackie had the face of an old Hollywood star, delicate features, big expressive eyes, and that impossibly chic smile. Her poise was unmatched, and her fashion sense completely untouchable. She practically invented the modern First Lady aesthetic. Those structured Chanel-inspired suits, the iconic pillbox hats, the oversized sunglasses, everything she wore became legendary. Her inaugural ball gown? A white silk chiffon dream designed by Oleg Cassini. Her casual summer dresses, effortlessly elegant. Her evening gowns, the definition of grace. And then there was the pink suit, the one she wore in Dallas, the one that defined an era. It wasn't just a piece of clothing, it was history. Jackie made the world fall in love with her. She was effortlessly glamorous, endlessly elegant, and completely unforgettable. There was never any competition. Jackie Kennedy is First Lady fashion, And that's the list. 15 stunning, stylish, and unforgettable first ladies who knew how to command attention and turn heads. Who do you think should have made the cut? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications for more amazing content. See you next time.